I'm so pleased to see that Tommy Robinson has called out GB News for the extraordinary claim by Scarlet MacGwire that he had been throwing things at the police while the demonstrations, protests were going on Saturday. The whole thing, his entire time in London on Saturday was being monitored by cameras, but particularly by a live stream from Mayhar Tousi. And it's not that Scarlet MacGwire made a mistake. I'm sure she did. People often make a mistake when they're under pressure and doing broadcasts and thinking on their feet or on their backsides or whatever, however they are postured. But the fact was she wasn't challenged. And the evidence was there. And what GB News and Talk TV seem to have done now is to try and frame a particular narrative, that there were incidents on Saturday involving the Palestinian marchers and, of course, some far-right marchers. Far-right people who were connected to the EDL and so on. Well, that's not entirely true. The arrests were made primarily of people who were from that thuggish far-right group. We don't know whether anybody was a member of the EDL. Tommy Robinson long ago stopped being a member of the EDL. But Caolan, Robertson, pointed out yesterday that this whole thing was like a starter whistle blown by Suella Braverman. And other commentators and other people connected to the far-right movement have said, yes, of course, they were invigorated, they were impelled to go into London because of her call, her siren call, her call to arms. And that's not, of course, the message which GB News or Talk TV wants to put out. They want to put out the idea that Suella Braverman is a victim of a capricious prime minister. She isn't. She's the person who instigated and encouraged and incited violence on the streets of London, and it happened, and she was sacked. And there is really no other way of putting it. Now, maybe you can't draw a clear thread from her rhetoric to the actions of the thugs on the streets in London. But if Rishi Sunak can draw the conclusions and sack her, then we can surely draw similar conclusions about her activity. And this reverse engineering, this tricksy rhetorical flourish involving libelous claims, involving false facts, is scandalous from an organisation, from GB News, an organisation which wants to be taken seriously. It needs to get its act together, and it needs to make sure that issues which are factually incorrect are challenged, or apologies are made at the next possible opportunity, and certainly it shouldn't be playing these cowardly and silly games. GB News wants to be seen as an entertainment programme and an opinion programme. But it has to get the news bit is in the title, and I think if it's going to put out inappropriate comments which are not true, and masquerading as news, maybe it just needs to get off the air. It's wrong. It's just wrong.